Alright, so for the rest of this, we're going to work on day 3 real quick. I'm going to go through one of these, and then just so you guys see the process, I tried to find some worksheets or create them in different ways so that it's less work on your guys' part. So I found that this method was pretty simple to find the mean absolute deviation. So this is just finding the mean absolute deviation. You're not finding the median, you're not doing any of that. All you're going to find is the mean, because you need the mean to find the mean absolute deviation, which is also called the mean deviation on some. So with this format, it's setting it up so that it's easy to find the distance from the mean. So I think some of you guys might like this better than what we were doing last week. I tried to rethink how learning now altogether in the classroom is best to fit you, how you guys are learning, and I thought that this chart method, if it's already given in a chart, was pretty easy to see how to find the mean absolute deviation. This is not something that you're always going to create a chart for it, or always have one available, but it is something that helps a little bit. So we're going to look at number 1 altogether. You guys can see I have a calculator nearby, so if you have one, get your phone or a calculator, whatever is best for you to see how to find it, because you do need a calculator for all of these. Otherwise, it's a lot of math on your own. So the first step is writing your numbers in the bar up top. You could just write them as they are. I think it's easiest to write them from least to greatest, just because then when you're finding the distance from the mean, you're doing the same steps. So I'm going to write them from least to greatest. I suggest you do. It's one extra little step that you're doing, and it doesn't involve much math except knowing how numbers are. So my smallest number I see is a 4. My next number is a 5. I'm crossing them off as I go. A 12, a 19, a 23, and a 33. Now you're not filling up all the boxes because I just made them standard all the way down. I think one of them uses all of them. That's why they're all like that. So just make sure you have the right amount of numbers. If I look here, I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then you're good. Average is another word for the mean, as you guys all know. So the first step to find the mean absolute deviation is you need to find the total and divide it by how many you have. We know we have 6 numbers. To find the total, all you're going to do is add them all together. 4 plus 5 plus 12 plus 19 plus 23 plus 33. I got 96. Let me put that on the end. 96. We know that we have to double check that. You know to always do it twice. This is something that will help you, and you realize that your fingers sometimes type the wrong thing. The calculator doesn't always register that you typed it. It doesn't hurt to do it one more time. So I got 96 again, and I know I'm good. To find the average, you're going to take your total and divide it by how many you have. So 96 divided by 6. You're going to do 96 divided by 6, and you're going to get 16. So your average is going to be 16, and I'm going to circle it so we know that that is the number we are always working for. Now, since I put them in order, this is why I put them in order, because when you find the average, you always take the bigger number, whether it's the number or the average, and that's what you start with, and then you subtract, because the distance is the same as the difference. So how far away from 16 is 4 is what you're doing. We know 16 is more than 4, so on my top one, I would be doing 16 minus 4. You don't have to always write them. I'm just going to, so we all know what we're doing. I'm going to keep going before I actually solve them. 16 minus 5, 12 is less. 16 minus 12, 19 is more than 16, so that's where my 19 is now going to start, and you're going to take 16 away. And now the rest are also all more than 16, because I put them in order from least to greatest. The hardest part is seeing, okay, where does it stop? Because if you did 16 minus 19, you're going to get a negative number. Then you're going to go to 23 is more, so 23 minus 16, and my last one of 33 minus 16. Alright, so now we can just subtract them all. 16 minus 4, you would get 12. 16 minus 5, you would get 11. 16 minus 12, you would get 4. 19 minus 16, you would get 3. 23 minus 16, you would get 7. And 33 minus 16, you would get 17. Okay? Now you have your new numbers, and you're going to find the mean again, and that's going to give you the mean deviation. Deviation is like the difference in numbers. So we're going to start finding like standard deviations and all of that next year, but to start that, we're always going to start with the mean deviation. So to find the mean deviation, you do it the same as you do at the top. You're going to add all your numbers up, so 12 plus 11. I'm adding these new numbers up too. Plus 4, plus 3, plus 7, plus 17. I'm going to get 54. I'm going to write it off to the side. But I'm going to check that again, just because we always check them. So 12 plus 11 plus 4 plus 3 plus 7 plus 17. And I got it again, so I know it's good. Now, I have 54. And I have 6 numbers total. So I'm still going to divide by 6, just like I did on the average. And we should know that 54 divided by 6 is 9. So your mean absolute deviation here is 9. Okay? We're going to start number 2 together, and then you guys will do 3 and 4 completely on your own. Number 2 you guys are going to do mostly on your own, but we're going to check our answers together. So we're going to use the same process we're using the chart. You're going to start realizing you can easily create your own as you do it. Just want to have like the blanks and all that. It's an easy way to find the difference between numbers, and then from there it's step by step written out. So hopefully it makes it a little bit easier for you. First step, if we remember from the first one, is to write them in order. So I'm going to go ahead and put them in order. You should be doing that too. Hopefully you have an order 1, 3, 7, 15, 16, 22, 41, and if you check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, you have 7. So your total is 7 numbers. I like to put that somewhere because that's going to be what you divide by each time. Now, the main thing that you're looking for is when you start doing data sets in the future, the mean absolute deviation is showing how far spread are your numbers. So I had 9. 9 is not a huge number, so the smaller the mean absolute deviation is, actually the better off the number is. It means that it's all close to that average. You have a pretty good average. When you start doing a ton of data, you might have a mean absolute deviation that's like a decimal, and that means your information is really, really close to that number. Now, if you look here, you're going all the way from 1 to 41 with only 7 numbers, so your numbers are really spread here. You're going to see that 41 is way higher than everything else because most of these are pretty small, and then you jump all the way to 41. When you start doing it, that's what we call an outlier, and that's what a mean absolute deviation is going to help you see. What is your actual outlier here? So, we're going to do the same process we did before. I want you to go ahead and find the mean. So please pause this, find the mean or the average. Hopefully you have paused it. If you have not, please do so, because I'm going to start going over it. To find the mean, you have to add all your numbers up. So 1 plus 3 plus 7 plus 15 plus 16 plus 22 plus 41. First go around, I got 105. I'm going to go check that real quick. So you should have already done this. I got the same number, so it is 105. You do 105 divided by how many you have, so I would do 105 divided by 7, and I get 15. That is my mean, or my average. The average is just what the mean is actually solving for, so sometimes we'll say average. It's finding the same thing. When it says mean, you're finding the average of it. So, distance from the mean, go ahead and find the distance from the mean on all these. So go ahead and set it up. Please pause, because I'm going to start going over it. Hopefully you have paused and actually gone through it. You're going to start your larger number on is first, smaller number second. You're going to see you have 15 and 15. That's okay to have a 0 in a spot. Then at 16 you get bigger. And 41 is 15. Then you're going to go ahead and solve all of these. So 15 minus 1, you're going to get 14. 15 minus 3, you're going to get 12. You're going to get 8. You're going to get 0. You're going to get 1, 7. And you're going to get 16. No, that's not right. 26, right? It's 26. Then you're going to find your new mean of these. So go ahead and find your new mean of these numbers. Hopefully you paused and found your new mean. When you do that, you're going to add 14 plus 12 plus 8 plus 0 plus 1 plus 7 plus 26. And I've double checked mine twice, and you should get 68. And then you're going to do 68 divided by 7. And you're going to get a big number, and I would just go to one decimal. So I'd say about 9.7. Okay? So that's one process you can do. You do finding the same thing. You're finding the numbers, you're finding the mean, you're finding the distance from the mean, and then you're going to find your mean absolute deviation. Alright, let's look at page 4. Okay, page 4, multiple choice. You still need to show your work though, so don't just circle random numbers. It's asking you to find different things. So the first one, it's asking you to find the mean absolute deviation. For the second one, it's asking you just to find the mean. Number 3, we'll get to in a second, and the rest we'll get to in a second too. So let's start with the first one. You're finding the mean absolute deviation. So this one I'll let you guys do on your own after I stop this video. So you're going to find the average, then you're going to find the distance from the mean. So number 1 is just like day 3. Okay. Number 2, all you're going to do is find the mean. So you're only going to do the first step. Number 3, Craig worked at a grocery store. He decided to find the average price of canned green beans. Help him calculate using these prices. So he wants to find the average. These are certain prices. If you're just finding the average, you're finding your mean. Now, I want to do this one together because we are dealing with decimals. So if you look at number 3, the decimals you're going to work with is you're working with 45 cents, 55 cents, 63 cents, and 72 cents. You're finding the mean. I have 4 numbers. I need to find the total. So you need to add all these up. So go ahead and add these 4 decimals up. You can use a calculator if you would like. When I added them, I got 2.35. I'm going to check that one more time, just because when you are using decimals, you should always check, but make sure when you're using decimals. Because sometimes you might forget to put it in, you might put it in the wrong spot. I got the same number. So you're going to do the same thing, but now you're dealing with a decimal. So you would do 2.35, and you're going to divide it by 4, because that's how many numbers you have. And you would get 0.5875. Now, if I round that, the closest number to it would be 59 cents, which is how you round it, so that is where you would get your answer there. Now notice, I'm only finding the mean. I'm still showing work here. I'm still showing what my total is, dividing it by how many, and showing my answer before I round it. So you should not just be circling a number. You should still be finding the total divided by how many you have to find the mean. Number 4, Samantha decided to calculate the mean absolute deviation of the speed of the cars driving on a busy highway. She watched the sign showing speed. These are the speeds she's getting. So you're finding the mean absolute deviation. So this is going back to what we just did on day 3. You need to find the mean and then find the distance from the mean. And the last one we are going to do together, actually, because it's also finding the mean absolute deviation, but we don't have this fancy chart that we used to have. So we're going to go through number 5 real quick. Alright, number 5, when you go through it, you have your 6 numbers up here. They're already in order from least to greatest. So I'm going to go ahead and write them out. 6, 8, 8, 12, 16. I'm sorry, I only have 5 numbers. Okay, so I have 5 numbers. Now I'm going to show you how I'm still doing it like the chart, kind of. Okay. I need to find my mean. So go ahead and find the mean of this data set. So total them up and divide by 5 because that's how many you have. And make sure you total them twice. And I got 50. And then when you divide by 5, you would get 10. Okay, so 10 is the number you're working with. Then you need to find the difference. Okay, now remember you're dealing with 10 or you're dealing with the other numbers, so if it's smaller than 10, 10 is going to be first. So my first one would be 10 minus 6, then 10 minus 8, then 10 minus 8. Now 12 is more, so I'm going to start with 12 minus 10 and 16 minus 10. And I'm going to actually find the differences here. So you should get 4, 2, 2, 2, and 6. And now you have to find the mean, the absolute deviation. And that you do by finding the total and dividing it by how many you have. So go ahead and find the total of all of these. Sure, you'll do this in your head. Do it twice though in your head, or do it on a calculator twice. When I did it, I got 16. And you're going to divide by how many you have. I still have 5. So when you do that, you're going to do 16 divided by 5, and you're going to get a decimal of 3.2. So I pretty much use the chart format without having a full drawn-out chart. So you're still writing the numbers least to greatest, find the average, then you find the difference, and then you find your mean absolute deviation. And that's how you're going to do number 1 and 4 as well. Okay? Let's look at the last page. We are going to just do part of this. If you look at this page, it's very similar to what we did last week. It's part of the same worksheet. We just changed the numbers of the problems. I'm using the second half this time because now I want to get into the mean absolute deviation from the median. And to do this, you're still going to find the mean absolute deviation, but you're now going to find a different number as well, which is the distance from the median. So you're doing it the exact same way. So when you actually do this problem, I want you to find the mean, then I want you to find the median, then the mean absolute deviation. But we're right now going to look at the median and the absolute deviation from the median, because the other two we've done a lot of in this video and last week. So first step to find the median is you need to put them in order from least to greatest. So this is where it gets a little trickier. You need to write them in order. So I'm going to go through my smallest is 3. So go ahead and start putting them in order from least to greatest, separated by commas. So 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 12, 13, 14, 15. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm good. They're in order. Probably the hardest part of this whole thing is putting them in order, just because it takes some concentration, takes being consistent with where you cross and what you write. So you're going to find the median. 1 from the left, 1 from the right. 1 from the left, 1 from the right, until you get to the center. Now go one at a time. Always don't think there's a ton. I'm just going to skip around. And I'm going to see that my median is 7. So when you find the absolute deviation from the median, instead of finding the difference from the original numbers and the mean, you're going to find the difference from the original numbers and the median. So when I do this, I'm going to rewrite them in order. 3, 4, 4, 5, 6, 6, 6, 7, 8, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 12. Okay? Then you're going to find the distance between each of them and 7. So, now I'm looking, is it more than 7 or less than 7? These first ones are less, so I'm going to start with 7. 7 minus 3, 7 minus 4, 7 minus 4, 7 minus 5, 7 minus 6, 7 minus 6, 7 minus 6, 7 minus 7. Now I'm dealing with numbers bigger than 7, so I'm going to start with 8 minus 7. You're always using your numbers first now. You can do most of these in your head. I'm just writing them out so that you can see where I'm getting my next set of numbers from. It does get a little messy, but if you write small, and hopefully you can see where the numbers are coming from. Then you're going to find the difference between them, so then subtract them. So I'm going to get 4, 3, 3, 2, 1, 1, 1, 0. All I'm doing is subtracting. 1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, and 5. And you're going to find the absolute deviation from your median. So now I'm going to find the average of these numbers. So add them all up. 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5. And I got 30. I'm going to double check that though, like we always do. 4 plus 3 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 plus 1 plus 0 plus 1 plus 1 plus 2 plus 2 plus 3 plus 5. And I also got 30, so I know it's 30. And then we have to find how many numbers do I have. Before we already found that was 15. You're going to divide by 15, and you're going to get 2. Okay, and then I want you to find the mean absolute deviation. See, are they similar or are they not? They should be pretty close to each other. Alright, so that was a little bit longer than I thought for this part, but that's okay. For number 2, do the same thing. You're dealing with decimals, that's okay. Put them in order. You're going to find the mean absolute deviation and the absolute deviation from the median. I only gave you 2 problems on this page because they do take a little bit longer. I understand that. But remember, each page is to signify a different day. So if you want to do 1 page a day, that's fine. You'll finish this by the end of the week or beginning of next week if you took Monday off, because I didn't post till Tuesday, just to give everyone a second to kind of get their packets and get them ready. So if you have questions, please let me know. Otherwise, I will see you guys if you have questions on Friday at Zoom, or next Monday I'm going to post a video going over the whole project, and then we will have class next week to go over the project more in depth too. So have a great week, guys.